Dark Warriors, the post-show media scrum, basically. This is gonna be, I'm your co-host, Alex Black, along with my co-host, Hydrate, where we're gonna be diving down into the aftermath of what went down with Brawl 59. The first match, of course, being the middleweight bout between Hannibal Hansen versus Greg Hayes, with Greg Hayes managing to get the win in the first round via a right hook. What do you think about that?
I think Greg Hayes reminded a lot of people in that fight that he was almost the next middleweight contender in his own right back at Brawl 48 when he fought Walter Brooks. He knows how to get to the title, and yeah, he was slipping, he was falling, he was at the very bottom. But like I said in our last episode, I thought he was going to outgrit Hannibal Hansen, and I went with him, and he proved me right with a knockout in the first round via right hook.
Yeah, that was honestly a very surprising outcome, especially in the very first round. Of course, this did change the fighters' rankings, as Hannibal Hansen went down to rank number 13, while Greg Hayes went up from 14 all the way to 11 after this match. A very great performance from Greg Hayes, to be fair. Like, this is something I wasn't expecting. I had my money on Hannibal Hansen.
I don't think anybody was expecting this kind of performance from Greg Hayes. Certainly not right now, and certainly not against Hannibal Hansen. But he proved a lot of people wrong this past Monday, and he proved that he is still very much a part of this hungry roster of people that we have.
Alright, our second match was a light heavyweight bout between Alfie Hanley and Andy Knight, which went Andy Knight's way via unanimous decision after a dominating performance in all 5 rounds. How did you feel about that? Of course, I know my bias was on Andy Knight, because I already said the rookies always make moments. So how do you feel on his performance this match?
I would be lying if I say I wasn't surprised. I knew Andy Knight was going to show us something special. I said so in our last episode. But I had went with Alfie Hanley because I just didn't believe that whatever he had was going to be enough to overcome someone like Alfie Hanley, who has done a lot here in terms of fights, no titles, but still. But man, 15 minutes of pure dominance by Andy Knight to pick up the unanimous decision win in his debut. That kid is going to be big.
Yeah, honestly, it was not, for me, I had it on Andy Knight because it was honestly a battle of experience versus age. Yeah, this huge gap was very different. He might have had experience, Alfie, but as much as it came down to it, I feel like Andy Knight was just that much better when it came down to certain points. Of course, this made Andy Knight go from 10 to rank number 8, and Alfie Hanley went down to rank number 9 from number 8.
Andy actually went up from 11 to 8, so 11. Even better for him.
So that's actually 3.
Anyway,
wow, he went up even more than I thought.
Very, very surprising performance, and a well-deserved rise up the card for that incredible performance in win. And next, we had the number 4 ranked Domikos Anderson versus the number 9 ranked Kobu Pantheon. And Kobu Pantheon got the surprising victory in round 2 with a front kick knockout that sent Domikos Anderson almost to the other side of the cage. I know I went with Kobu Pantheon. I said he was going to outgrit Domikos Anderson, but what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I had my money on Domikos mainly because as we saw in the whole match, Domikos actually took him down, and whenever he took him down, he kind of stayed down. Kobu couldn't really get any offense on there. And if it stayed on the ground a little longer, I felt like Domikos probably would have gotten the win. But it was an unfortunate match. I had it on Domikos. It wasn't meant to be. But props to Kobu, especially since he shot up probably a great amount of rankings, especially after beating the number 4 rank. He probably went up a couple more rankings. But yeah, it was just a huge surprise. Did not expect him to kind of send Domikos into the grave with that kick.
Domikos not being able to keep his opponent on the ground long enough was his downfall once again. For those who remember Brawl 50, him not being able to keep his opponent down long enough was what cost him his title, and it cost him the victory this past Monday. Next,
yeah, as you can see, before we go to the next match, as you can see, Kobe went up from rank number 9 to number 8, and Damakos managed to still luckily keep his position, mainly due to the fact that most of the fighters who are either above him got either at least a loss, or just kind of negated his, or they're just people below him were either inactive or lost. So Damakos, I feel like even when he lost, he just got a little saved due to the other matches that are to come.
Next was a light heavyweight bout between the number 4 ranked Michael Gomez and the number 7 ranked Tony Tornado. Tony Tornado getting the win in round 2 with a left hook knockout. Alex, what are your thoughts? I know we had both picked Michael Gomez, if I believe.
So yeah, this was very unfortunate for me. I did think Michael was gonna get the win, especially whenever he had like a more better defense, but I guess it wasn't just showing tonight. I feel like he's been on his skin ever since losing to Dustin. He obviously usually makes comebacks, but against Tony Tornado, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Especially since them two were fighting more stand-up. Tony just threw out more explosive shots and kept them out of range in order for him to throw his kicks more, rather than Michael Gomez getting that one big good hit. It was a very unfortunate match, but props to Tony to managing to get the KO.
Yeah, props to Tony. He wants that title back, and he's willing to do whatever to whoever to get it. Next up was a middleweight bout between the number 3 ranked Adrian Wilkins and the number 7 ranked Noah Chapman, the veteran versus the rookie. We both picked Adrian Wilkins here, and we were both very surprised when the young gun got a huge victory via a Superman punch knockout in the second round. Alex, what are your thoughts, and what happened in the rankings as a result of this fight?
Yeah, honestly, I was a little disappointed, mainly because, of course, we both thought Adrian Wilkins was going to manage to keep his dominance up and try building up to get that title fight once again. And it was just an unfortunate happening, especially since Adrian Wilkins, throughout most of that whole round, of the first round, he kind of almost had the advantage that whole round. He kept on knocking him down and everything, but the second round when everything changed, Noah Chapman just kicked it up the gear, and he just managed to get the Superman punch off of him. Of course, it was honestly just a surprise for me. I just didn't expect it to happen.
Both men have been very inconsistent with their careers. Granted, Adrian Wilkins has had a much longer career, but I don't think Noah Chapman is going to just take this victory and not do something with it, because he shot up all the way to number 3, if I remember correctly, as a result of this victory, putting him in title talks for a potential shot after whoever Brooks faces at Brawl 60.
And then also, Adrian Wilkins went down to number 5, still top 5, which is not too bad, especially with the performance at the end, which honestly, it was just a surprise. I'm still shocked about it. Let's go to our next bout, which is a light heavyweight bout between Dustin Rhodes and Tala Haktura. This, of course, being Tala Haktura's retirement match. How do you think? Of course, we both said Dustin Rhodes was gonna win. How do you conceive this thing? How do you think about how this happened? How do you think it went?
I think we all kind of knew going into that fight that Dustin Rhodes was going to win, but Tala Haktura, who is now retired, as you mentioned, he went out on his sword. He went down fighting, and his career died a warrior's death, so to speak. He will be remembered as a great fighter. His career will be remembered as, we'll remember him as a great fighter, and I hope whatever he's doing now that he's retired, he's doing it to the best of his capabilities and he's enjoying it.
Yeah, best to his future endeavors, to Tala Haktura. Of course, Dustin Rhodes went up from rank number 3 to number 2. He is one position closer to being number 1 contender after this match. And just, a great performance from Dustin Rhodes with the ground and pound, and best in whatever Tala Haktura is going to do in the future.
Next up was our co-main event of the night between number 2 ranked Dad Trainer and number 5 ranked Robert Zodiac in the middleweight division. Dad Trainer getting a dominant round 1 uppercut knockout victory and shooting himself up to number 1 in the rankings, potentially throwing the middleweight championship fight at Brawl 60 into jeopardy. What do you think about that, Alex?
For me, honestly, it wasn't a surprise. I knew Dad Trainer was gonna get this win. It felt almost obvious, especially since how explosive he has been being as of late. He's been just beating nearly everybody. And do I think Brawl 60 might have a shakeup? I honestly don't even know, because the last 2 people who are contending basically for that middleweight fight in the division both got wins. So who knows if the match has already been set beforehand. So this is honestly, I feel like this is just more of who's next after Brawl 60.
Yeah.
So I think Dad Trainer, he's definitely, if he doesn't get the match at Brawl 60, he's 100% next.
He is most definitely next in line, if not the next title shot after that performance. And well deserved to him. He's earned it. And I know the fans are going to look forward to whoever is the champion when that title bout comes around.
Okay, now we're going to be on our main event for the number 1 contender for the light heavyweight championship, potentially either at Brawl 60 or the next show. Number 1 ranked fighter Pablo Rodriguez versus number 2 ranked fighter Elliot Southey, with Pablo Rodriguez winning via round 2 with the right jab. What are your thoughts on that?
I know we both picked Elliot Southey, so I cannot say I was not surprised. Was it pleasantly surprised? I wouldn't go that far. But Pablo Rodriguez, for any shit anybody will ever give him, he did earn this. He was in a fight, he knew it, and he came out on top, and he is going to get that shot against Braden Brown at Brawl 60.
Yeah, this fight, of course, we both chose Southey for the very reason of, we honestly thought that if it stayed up top, Elliot Southey was probably going to have the advantage. And Pablo Rodriguez just proved us both wrong with this performance by knocking him out, standing up. And this is a well-deserved match between him and Braden Brown. And hopefully he takes the opportunity on it. Hopefully he gets that belt.
Yeah, hopefully he takes his opportunity and makes the most of it. Or else he's going to have to do a long climb back up the rankings to potentially get another shot.
Yeah, of course, this did flip up the little rankings a little bit. Elliot Southey, of course, went from number 2 to number 5. But as long as he's still in the top 5, he's always going to be in title contention, even with this loss.
That is correct. So,
okay.
Any other words we want to leave the people with before we hit the outro?
Just right now, I just don't got no words, especially with half of my half how I felt. Most of my fighters, when I thought of to get some, I kind of got them wrong.
That's fair. We both got some of our predictions wrong, and I don't really have much to say either. I guess we'll be sitting speechless with the rest of the crowd when we all tune in to Brawl 60 coming soon. And with that, This is Hydrate and Alex Black, the Mike Warriors, signing off. Peace.
Peace.